It's the Mike Nowak Show with Peggy Malecki. Green, gardening, and environment radio, flavored with a dash of humor. Welcome to intelligent, irreverent talk about plants and the planet they grow on. Your questions, comments, and participation are always welcome on Facebook and Instagram at The Mike Nowak Show and at Mike Now on Twitter.
Good planets are hard to find. Temperate zones and tropic climes. And true currents and thriving seas. Wind blowing through breathing trees. Strong ozone and safe sunshine. Well, good planets are hard to find. Good planets are in the main.
Brought to you by Bartlett Tree Experts. Every tree needs a champion. Go to bartlett.com.
Jet streams, perfect air.
And here they are, Peggy Malecki and Mike Nowak.
Well, good planets are in the main, right?
And good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Once again, the last second dramatics, theatrics, as we try to get into the show. You're right. It's just a normal Sunday here, right?
That's the way it is. If we didn't have that, you'd wonder what was wrong.
No, I wouldn't. I would say, hey, wasn't this nice? We just got into all of this really smoothly, and everything just worked out great.
But you'd be waiting for that proverbial shoe to drop otherwise.
Yeah, I would be. But we have a great show for you today. We're very, very excited about bringing in our two guests in the first hour here. Katie Parker from Tamerlaine Sanctuary and Preserve in Montague Township, New Jersey. Erin Yanz, who runs Erin's Farm in Hobart, Indiana.
It's a remote that isn't a remote.
Exactly. We're not there, but they are on their farms, and they are rescue farms for abused and neglected farm animals. And in Erin's case, a few added attractions as well. So that is pretty much the first part of the show. And I want to welcome everybody who might be watching this because they know Erin, or they know Katie, or they know the facilities they work at, and say, hey, please go to our YouTube channel and subscribe. That would be terrific. You can also go to MikeNowak.net. There's a blog post about all of this. It's MikeNowak.net. And we hope that you enjoy the show today, because it was there was a lot of hard work put into this this morning. And of course, Rick DiMaio will be here later on, meteorologist Rick DiMaio, with our weather and climate information. Just so you know, we're headed back into drought here in the upper Midwest. We've got some maps here.
I think we are back already.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're headed back. We're there.
Yeah, he's got some statistics on the lack of rain that we've had here, and the map is looking like it did in June, which is pretty amazing. It sort of faded, and now it's back, and that's a lot of the country has had some kind of drought. So we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about a few other things going on in the gardening and environmental. Thank you, Bill Curtis. World. But I think we should just go to our guests, because they have a lot to offer today. So let's go to the various farms, and I need to make sure that the microphones are on. How about that? So your lower left-hand part of your screen, you can see Katie Parker from Tamerlaine Sanctuary and Preserve. Katie, how are you?
Great. How are you guys?
We're fine. We're excited to see this tour today, and what a beautiful building is behind you, or buildings behind you. That's a gorgeous farm. In fact, you're part of a farm that is some 240 years old, isn't it?
Yep. It's our farmhouse is the earliest record we have is from 1774. although it might have been built even before then. And it's only been through 2 owners other than us, the Westfall family and the Mortimers in the 30s or 40s.
Wow.
So it's kept wonderfully pristine. It's been a vineyard, and it's in great shape. And we restored most of the farmhouse by now. We're working on that, but it's a really absolutely gorgeous historical piece of property.
In fact,
and we're very.
Yeah, I'm popping it up in the large screen so folks can see it. And with the sun shining beyond the silo, it's beautiful. It's just gorgeous.
Yeah. And that's out in New Jersey for anybody who missed the beginning of the show.
Yeah, and
we're right York and Pennsylvania meet.
Yeah, right. New Jersey, right, just about on the border of Pennsylvania, right?
Right, just a few miles.
In Montague Township, there's no, I guess, no real city that the farm is in.
Port Jervis is kind of a larger town, but Montague is a beautiful place as well. When I say Port Jervis is a larger town, I mean it's the larger of the nearby towns. But it's a pretty rural area. It's really gorgeous. There's lots of rivers and historic bridges in the town, and Port Jervis is actually kind of going a lot of revitalization right now. So there's all sorts of cool little shops opening up, kind of help out the area as well, and provide some tourists dollars, and bring in some people, some adventurous outdoor people who love animals that will spend some money at some of the state parks and nature attractions. We're right near some water rafting and everything, so we kind of want to be part of the community in that way as well.
All right, and we did this before we started the show. Just do a kind of a 360 there, and you can see some of the grounds. It's just so.
That's the farm.
The farmhouse. Okay. All right.
Doing everything back. And then, so it's 336 acres, and you can see the hills in the back are actually there's underground caves back there.
Wow.
They're covered up over time. But they were part of the Underground Railroad at one point, and they lead all the way over to the Delaware River. So it was a pretty important stop in history, but at that point. So we kind of like to think we're keeping the social justice movement going on here on the property.
You absolutely are, and certainly the animal justice movement with what you're doing there. So let me now go to the lower right-hand corner of our screen and bring in Erin Yanz from Erin's Farm in Hobart, Indiana. And Erin, you and I have a little bit of a history. We met, and I tell you what, let's see if I can pop this up, because this is a pretty funny photo from back in the day. This is you and me a few years ago at a I don't know if you can actually see that. That's me interviewing Tootsie the tortoise at a green festival that was at
Lane Tech.
No, it wasn't Lane Tech. It was what's the other one on? And I have it in my head here. In fact, if I scroll down,
it's in the blog, I think.
Yeah, it's in the blog post. Lakeview High School.
Lakeview High School, yeah.
Right, in Chicago. And that was when you were doing something different. So explain your path to where you are, Erin.
So, yeah, my kind of a vegan type rescue sanctuary, a little bit different. I was a vet nurse for years of my life, and would just take in animals that needed rescue that when people called, and eventually got to the point where I ended up having a farm. And that's where the rescue started. And I, subsidized everything myself for the first 10 years. But I had a program called Nature's Creatures, and we went to schools and educated the kids with these rescued animals, teaching compassion, because they're one of our main views that, to have more compassionate adults in the future, you have to start with the kids. And so many of the kids that I would go to see at the schools had never been exposed to any of the animals that we brought, versus whether it's something as simple as a rabbit to an exotic iguana or something. And in these programs, I could see the transformation of the kids. They would start kind of terrified of some of these animals. At the end of the class, they wanted and hold it. So I could see in these 45-minute presentations the difference it was making in these kids' lives. So over the 10, 15 years that we did that full time, we went to like, I think the number is, it's on my website, but it's like almost 750,000 kids were exposed to our program, and it was all nature-based education. So that's kind of the foundation of what led to this farm. You know, I kind of started to have my feelings change about what I was doing. I didn't like the animals traveling, but I wanted to continue this education with the kids. So I just thought the best way to do this is to have the animals stay at home and the kids come to us. And they would get that same exposure. Plus, they're out in nature, putting the phones down, and you know, getting their feet dirty, but then also seeing the animals interact with other species, interact with family members, and because that just shows these kids like how like us they are, and that's the connection that I'm really going for at this farm, is to really sensitize kids in the next generation to animals, like with the choices we make and you know, and kind of move forward in a positive way that helps the environment and animals. So
okay, well, how did you end up with the farm in Hobart?
So when I started the farm, I was renting a farm in Illinois, and I was trying to find one to purchase. And then a good friend from high school found this place, and it's kind of an odd place. It was a former slaughterhouse that now is an animal sanctuary. So it has a kind of an interesting past. So I live at the property now, so I live in a slaughterhouse, but we love the idea of turning it into from a sad place for animals to go to a happy place. But it does have that, you know, that history, which is just a little.
Well, you know,
creepy sometimes.
Well, you know, let me, if I can.
Everybody that comes here just loves the energy that you get.
Okay. All right. A couple of things here as we move forward. It's going to be hard to have a conversation because sometimes you can't hear when I'm talking because we're using phones. Expect a little bit of breakup here. That's going to happen, and I can cover that because I've also got some videos and some photos.
Yeah. And we may all be just overtaken by the sound of chickens at some point too.
Yeah, and sometimes when we have that happen, and I wanted to say, Erin, that I think moving into a slaughterhouse, as I wrote in my blog, it was either ironic or prophetic. So I think it's prophetic, actually, and it's good that you're there. Now, how many acres do you have?
We have 33 acres, so a little bit smaller, but the thing is that we're about 40 from Chicago, so and other local small towns. So there's such a great opportunity for people to, like a mass number of people to get exposure.
You kind of it jumped there, but from Chicago, it's less than an hour to get there, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think she said about 45 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. And Katie, how many acres have you got in that area?
It's the bigger piece of property. It's 336 acres. And you know, I just wanted to say, Erin, I think that's amazing. I absolutely love that story. It's always so nice to meet other people in sanctuaries and stuff. I'm not running it. I'm the humane educator, so we do a lot of education as well here. I just wanted to echo what you said, how important it is to teach the kids. You know, we can't rescue all the animals in the world, but we can, you know, teach the future why we're doing it and what we're doing. And I just think your outreach sounds fantastic.
So Katie, when you say humane educator, what does that mean?
A lot of what Erin was talking about, we do private tours, we do school tours, we do public tours on the weekends. What I do mostly is the school tours, and we do virtual tours as well as in-person tours for schools and classes. And I will write lesson plans, and we'll coordinate activities and sort of cater to the students' needs, and, you know, work with teachers to figure out exactly, you know, if there's kids with special needs, or if there's something specific they want us to focus on, or, you know, and it's important to sort of work with their sensitivity levels too, because we want to make sure our programs are all inclusive. And, you know, most of the people we teach, like Erin said, have never seen a farm or been to a farm and don't know where their food comes from. So, you know, we have to be very sensitive about not leaving them with images of horror. You know, that's not what we do. we kind of are like, because none of us were born vegan here. So they're there because we're here because we love animals. Kids here are born loving animals. So we just kind of return them to hope to return them to their natural, compassionate, empathetic state. And
you have a background in education and publishing, so it's a perfect mix.
I wrote and edited textbooks for about 20 years. So science.
And I should mention that that's how I got to know you, because you worked on a project with my partner Kathleen, who says you're just a fantastic writer. So you have something to fall back on. But so what made you come to this farm earlier this year?
It was kind of a combination of things. Our geese are very excited. I think it's about feeding time. But it was a kind of a combination of things. And, I've been vegan for about 8 or 9 years. And when I started working in education, I was really passionate about what I was doing, and it felt great. And it was, a very creative field. But, as time has gone on, I don't think the large publishing industry is doing as much as it once was. And it's very restricted. You have to tell the teachers exactly what to say and that kind of thing. And I don't believe teachers like that any more than we working on it did. So I wanted to do something I was passionate about again and feel passionate. And this is much better than education ever was. And I just feel so lucky to be here. I joke around with Gabby and Peter, the founders. Every time I come, I'm like, today's the day I'm going to be fired, because it's a dream. We're doing such important work. So proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, and don't get me started on educational writing. I don't even work in that. I've done a little bit of it, and Kathleen has occasionally dragged me into it. But we could do a whole series of programs about that. But I'm glad you mentioned Peter Nussbaum and Gabrielle Stubbert, who they started Tamerlaine back in I guess they're officially 2014, but it started with an incident in 2013, and then in 2018 they bought this farm. I read some stuff that a wonderful article, and I have a link to it on my blog post. And they offer some really clear-eyed advice. And Erin, you probably understand this as well, which is be prepared to spend your life savings on doing this, because there's no easy way to do it, which reminds me also that you're both not-for-profit organizations. And so I'm going to encourage people watching this right now and listening on the podcast, when the podcast goes out, to contribute, to donate to either one or both of the organizations. You can go to my website, MikeNowak.net, and I've got the links there. But Peggy is going to send these out to our chat room now, and we hope that some people take advantage of this and are able to contribute to your organizations. I wanted to get that out right away, and I had almost forgotten about it, but we will mention it again during the course of the broadcast here. Okay, so now I guess we get to start getting a little bit of a tour here. Let's and like I said, we might lose some signal from time to time, but we will do what we can to cover that. And let's start with you, Katie. Let's see if we can move around a little bit. And Erin, you stand by, because we'll be going to you as well. So, what are we going to take a look at first, Katie?
So I'll show you on this side of the barn, and then we'll definitely hit a dead spot as I pass the barn.
Okay.
And what we're going to start with, we have some of our bird rescues here. And these are some of our geese. And a lot of our geese, they're... Well, I think they know we're talking about them.
Yep.
These are domestic geese, and some of them came from the food industry, the down industry. And then some of them were also abandoned in parks, and because they're domestic, they can't actually fly, so they don't have any natural defenses. And we work with, there's a group of bird rescuers out on Long Island that have really helped us a lot with them. And all the way in the back, you can't really see, but we have, you can't see them. Our big cows are back there. I'm going to try to take you to Chicken Village and see if this works.
Okay.
It worked yesterday. So hopefully it will today.
If it doesn't, Erin is standing by, and we will go to her. And I should go ahead, Peggy.
While you're walking, are most of the animals that come to the sanctuary local, or do they come from all over the country?
They definitely come from all over the country. We get, calls constantly. We don't even have to go looking for them because so many animals need rescue. These are chickens. These are what's known as broiler hens or broiler chickens, the ones that are used for meat. And these days they're bred to gain weight so fast and just be constantly hungry. So they're all on special diets. And I think they grow at like 7. I want to say I can't remember the exact numbers, but I think it's like 125% of their growth rate from 50 years ago. So their feet, their legs can't support their weight. They have a lot of breathing issues, heart issues, and we actually have a medical center here where we have trained staff that does a lot of triage work and medical care. And actually over here, I'm going to take you to show you some of our, what we try to do is even if they can't walk around and they can't fly and they can't, any of them can fly, but they can't keep up with the flock and they can't really go in. We want them to still not live their lives in the hospital and have the best life quality they can. So we always rotate who can come out in the sunshine. Let's see these little guys. Hi guys. I don't know. Can you see? Do I have you at a good angle here?
Yeah.
Yep.
These are not.
They freeze up temporarily. There we go.
Okay. So these guys, we try to let them outside and, let them just enjoy the sunshine. And this is their little friend. She thinks, and this is Panda. Hi, Panda. But we do. One of our workers has actually sort of been developing a wheelchair for the chickens that to help them build their leg strength, and it's actually been working pretty nicely. So they all get to go outside and spend time in the sunshine. These chickens come from the industry and Caporos. We do rescues for Caporos, which I don't know if for those of you who aren't aware of it, it's sort of a ritual, a religious ritual within small sects of the Orthodox Hasidic Jewish community. And it's for the week before Yom Kippur. It's done out in the open in the streets. They start amassing the birds, and then they sacrifice them by taking them by their wings, sort of spinning them over their head as a sacrifice, and then their throats are slit. And this is done right out in the open and out in the street. And we have 7 generations of Caporos birds in here, actually, that we've rescued. And this year, with group efforts, there was over 700 birds rescued, in part because a truck fell over carrying a lot of the birds. And then, sometimes they will give rescues to survivors. So we've got a lot of those birds, and they're actually up right now doing triage work done on them. They're still in pretty poor shape, but we rescue as many as we can, and then they live pretty good lives here.
If I can jump in, Erin, are you familiar with the Caporos? Do you have any of those birds in your sanctuary?
Yeah. We have had them before. They traditionally don't live a very, very long life, maybe a couple years, just because their bodies are designed for another purpose. We've had them. I don't have any currently. We have battery cage hens now from a big rescue last summer. We have a lot of factory farmed animals, but I don't have any of the Caporos right now.
Okay. And
New York, especially.
Yeah, I would imagine more in New York. There has been incidents that I just found out about the other day that this happens in Chicago as well. So where are we now, Katie?
So we're coming up on Chicken Village behind me. We did have an event yesterday. So we still have a lot of our signs up.
Ooh, okay. We're losing you a little bit there. Let's go back out and bring in Erin. And when we see Katie start to move again, we will get back to her. Erin, why don't you? What have you got behind you there?
So I'm currently in our mini horse field. At our farm, we do have 40 equines. Equines would be like mini horses, ponies, horses, donkeys, up to our largest, which is a Clydesdale.
Wow.
And what we educate a lot of people is the fact that there's like 50 to 150,000 horses that are exported water to use as food in other countries. And it's, no better, no worse than the factory farmed animals. But the things I think is so sad about it is that many of these animals were people's pets, and they were treated like, pets. And then it's almost like the old trail when they're sent away just because they don't have a use. And, we teach that, we have retired carriage horses, we have retired race horses that, are lame and couldn't be ridden or anything, and so they were deemed kind of, what's like unusable or worthless. And I think that's offensive to me because I feel like they especially because they provided a service so long, that the least that they could get was a healthy, safe retirement. So that's what we give. A lot of them are pulled from kill pens, and some were just avoided from that. So like this mini herd group here was a rescue a couple years ago.
And they've all gathered around you here.
Yeah, they were so far away, and I didn't know if I'd lose the connection. Cheated, and I grabbed a little bit of grain to entice them closer. I didn't want.
So they weren't just coming up; they were coming over for breakfast. That's it.
It's still breakfast time. So, but one of the nice things about this particular rescue that we did with these mini horses, they came from Missouri, because we do get animals from all across the United States. But it was a family unit, and they had been feral, like kind of wild for a number of years, just not handled or anything. And, when the owners passed away, they were either going to get split up and just go who knows where to be riding ponies for people, or they were going to go to slaughter. And it was a big decision, because taking on 15 mini horses, and of course all the girls were pregnant, and so we got everybody fixed, but 15 quickly turned into 20. But the nice thing, like on our tours, when people come through here, is that they get to see a family unit intact and how they behave. You get to see mothers with their children. You have foals that are 2 to 3 years old that are still nursing. And I like to show that, because I like to say, like, we don't wean them, separate anybody. Like, this is on their terms. Like, they live out their lives, and it's like the way that they want with a family unit. And I think that's what we try to show people is, we've had offers of, I'll take a pony for my kids or something. And I said, that would be great. It sounds nice because it would lighten the load for us. But we try to think of what's best for the animal. And we think what's best for them would be to stay as an intact family unit. We think they would be happier that way than separated and taken all over. And we like to show that, like, they have the bonds that we have. This little mini herd kind of mirrors the wild Mustangs and the issues that we're having with wild Mustangs, which is a cause I'm very, that's very important to me. So it's a nice kind of mini version of that, where people can see these family units and the structure and how tight they are, just like us. So so we have a lot of minis here.
Yeah, there, and I just, do you want to introduce us to any of them in particular?
Yeah, let's see. I've got this is little Gunner. He's the youngest baby. He's like, let me see if I can see him. He was our youngest, the last one that was born. Who do we have here? We have Flat Creek Prince. We have Raven. We have Bandit. We have Princess here with the beautiful markings.
Yes.
But it's aunts, uncles, cousins, grandparents, and it's really nice to see them all together, and nice to know that they get to live out their lives together.
Well, yeah, as you said, as a family unit, and that's so unusual for, I would guess it's unusual for horses to be able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think most people, if they have them, they have, a lot of people, horses eat a lot and they can be expensive. So if they're not providing a service, a lot of people don't see any point in having them. So that's why if a horse gets lame, they're sold to auction, where oftentimes they end up at slaughter. And, it's not, we've pulled animals from slaughter that just had little, injuries or things that they needed to get over. And now they're perfectly sound and fine. And, what we teach the kids about this is that, here in America, it's kind of a throwaway society. We're one-time use everything, get a cup, throw it away kind of thing. And that sadly sometimes kind of goes down into pets and animals. And, like these horses that we've pulled from slaughter sometimes that were thrown away, just needed some time to recover. They just needed, maybe a year to recover from a hoof injury. But people just throw them away and buy a new one. And it's just really heartbreaking that translates down to living things.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've got Katie back here too, but it's just in time for a quick break here. So, folks who are listening and watching, we've got Katie Parker there from Tamerlaine Sanctuary and Preserve, and we have Erin Yanz from Erin's Farm in Hobart, Indiana, and we're going to continue with these tours. And I love having these, just get lower there, Erin, and same thing with Katie, just getting good and close with the animals so that...
We've got the goats behind Katie there that we'll be back with.
And we'll be back with both.
I love it.
Oh, there we are. There's some goat. That's terrific. All right, and all I have to do is pull up our break here, and we'll be right back. It's the Mike Nowak Show with Peggy Malecki. Stick around.
You can help slow climate change in 2021 by composting. And you don't even need a backyard. By composting communally in multi-unit buildings across Chicagoland, Collective Resource Compost has diverted 7,000 tons of food scrap since 2010. CRC brings you a fresh 5-gallon bucket or a 32-gallon neighbor tote with each pickup. You fill it with organic matter, they swap it out, and get it to a commercial composting operation. Fight climate change. Go to collectiveresource.us.
Whether you're a farmer or a backyard gardener, assist your soil in providing key nutrients to your plants with Spectrum Soil Inoculum from Tineo Biologicals. The beneficial microorganisms in Spectrum break down and release vital nutrients and make them more accessible to your plants. Spectrum works with nature to decompose organic matter into humus, building richer, healthier soil. Spectrum is approved for use on certified organic crops and is OMRI listed. Get Spectrum at blazing-star.com.
Oh, hi. I suppose you're wondering what an A-list celebrity like me is doing in a place like this. You must know, I'm saving the world. Oh, hi, Beth. Yep, saving the world again. Did you know that 40% of all the food produced in the United States is thrown away? That means everything that went into that food, the pesticides, the water, the land, was all for nothing. Just look at this perfectly good food thrown in the trash. The pizza with extra Cheerios, these goldfish and Band-Aid tacos. And just look at this perfect trash burger. This pasta dog looks delicious.
You don't have to dumpster dive like Ed Begley Jr. to save the planet. Fight food waste by shopping smart and using what you buy before it gets trashed.
That's way better. Ooh, arugula.
Do your part and find out other world-saving tips at betterthaned.org.
And welcome back to the Mike Nowak Show with Peggy Malecki. We're out on the farm, and a couple of farms. One of them is in New Jersey. That's Tamerlaine Sanctuary and Preserve. And we're also in Hobart, Indiana, on Erin's farm. Katie Parker is in the lower left part of your screen, and Erin Yanz is in the lower right. And Katie, I guess it's time to go to you. Where are you right now?
So right now I'm at our goatel, which is, very witty. It's the hotel for goats, but they live there.
Go tell. All right.
That's inside, but right now
Do
they're all
tell.
Yeah.
They just got their breakfast, so everyone's very happily along. Good morning. Our goats are super affectionate. They just love. They definitely have little family units as well, like the mini horses, and it's really nice to see them. We had most of our goats came from a rescue in Massachusetts, where the ASPCA shut down an entire for mistreatment. And there's very few laws to protect. I mean, there's no federal laws to protect livestock. So for the USDA to actually shut down a farm, it's got to be pretty horrific. So they came from a pretty bad situation, and they're absolutely loving life. That's most of our goats came from there. And I'm trying to look for one of my favorites. I want to show you Jasper. He's our handsome little man. But when they did,
as you're talking, as you're going to find Jasper, there are, and I wrote this on the blog. There are 9 billion with a B land animals that are raised and slaughtered for food in the United States each year. And as you mentioned, pretty much legally, they're on their own. According to the Animal Welfare Institute, no single federal law expressly governs the treatment of animals used for food while on farms in the United States. In fact, these animals do not have legal protections until they are transported off the farm, which is kind of ironic, isn't it?
Yeah, and even those laws are the transport laws are pretty awful too. I think it's, for one of the animals, I can't remember exactly which one, but they have to be removed at least once every 48 hours or something. And, there's no climate control. And they're out in hot weather. They're all crowded in cold weather or rain. There's really not much protection. A lot of times they're not given food and water, and, they're going across the country sometimes. So there's no real way to keep track of whether those laws are being followed. And speaking of the lack of protection for animals, and then you've got the whole ag-gag laws, where it's a crime for someone to go into these factory farms and film it to show what's actually happening. So they have absolutely no protection, and because the agricultural industry is so powerful, they're able to actually make these laws, and they're trying to get harsher laws passed in a lot of states where a whistleblower is prosecuted. So, in any other industry, whistleblowers are lauded, and we write articles about them and we praise them. But, in the animal agricultural business, somehow these animals that have no protection at all are also not allowed any witnesses legally to speak for them. So it's insane.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Did you find Jasper there?
Oh, sorry. I kind of went off on a tangent there. Here he is. This is my Jasper. Jasper's one of our older goats. Hi, buddy. And he's famous for his lovely, lovely smile. Come here, buddy. I guess he's trying to eat. We'll go to another goat that's not so hungry.
Well, actually, I want to, for a quick second here, let's go over and find Erin. And where are you, Erin? Erin, can you hear me?
I'm down in our hay barn where we have a stall. One of our was Sky.
Okay, that's not.
She is like
oh, there we go.
Angus, so
could you try that again? The signal's not very good there, but try it one more time, Erin.
I'm with Scotty and Sky. Scotty is a little dairy orphan, and then Sky is the all black little Angus. So.
Oh, tell us. Yes, tell us about Sky's story. Sky is very interesting.
Yeah, I wanted to pop in and show you guys Sky. She is a recent rescue. She was raised on a beef farm and she was born with 3.5 legs. So she has a prosthetic. Scotty wants to be. Come on, scoot over, buddy. So they prosthetic. You can see that we got. She was born with half. So her situation was very tragic and guarded. And this prosthetic, we're hoping, will give her, another 6 months, another year or two of life, which she absolutely deserves. It's not her fault she was born this way. But the farmer did actually love her very much. They just didn't want anything bad to happen to her, but she could not keep up with their herd, their beef herd that's out in the fields. And so, and then Scotty next to me, the black and white, is a dairy industry orphan. As we all know, the boys are discarded because they're considered a product of the dairy industry. So they're just usually cold or sent to be veal. So he's got a second chance here.
That's great. And you sent me videos of Sky and the prosthetic. In fact, I would like to pop one of those up because this is pretty amazing stuff. Let's see if I've got this. Let's see if this works. Here we go. This is what Sky was dealing with when she.
Yeah, it's a work in progress.
I'm sorry, what was that?
That's how she looked.
Right.
That's how she looked when she arrived.
Right.
Erin said.
Yeah, and now here's the prosthetic, and you can see her walking around on that. And I think this was the first one. You had to refit it, didn't you? And that's so that.
Yeah, that's a video of the very first time she had. And I was in kind of.
Unfortunately, you're cutting in and out.
We had to kind of see how she'd move a little.
Yeah.
In that, but. Oh, sorry.
All right, and then here's the latest fitting. And she's getting used to this now because she had the other one and it was not quite long enough. And she's a little tentative on this, but as you've said, she'll get used to it.
Yes. Yeah, it just takes time for used to. That was the first day of the second fitting, the extension.
Yeah. So that's just a remarkable story that you guys would go to that kind of length to fit Sky with a prosthetic device. It's really remarkable. All right, Kate. Go ahead.
For the kids, especially that come to the farm to see that there's animals that are just like them as well.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, Erin, I'm going to have to ask you to move out of that area because the signal really is not very good. So let's move and let's go back to Katie. And where are you, Katie?
Oh, I'm still by the goats. I just wanted to show you. These are two of my favorite. These are Sheldon right here. This guy is Sheldon, and Sheldon was rescued from a wet market in New York City. There's actually a whole bunch in the country that people don't realize. There's over 80. And when he was rescued, he kept looking back, and the rescuers realized that there was somebody else there, and it was another little goat named Pinky. And as soon as they took Pinky, he was ready to go. So they were best friends forever, and they stayed together. And even among the herd, they would sleep together. And then Pinky just passed away recently. So we've been giving him lots of extra love. But the reason that he was so noticeable when he was at the wet market was because he walked right up to the rescuers and put his head on her shoulder. And he still does that. He comes right over and he just does all sorts of loving, puts his head on his shoulder and will rub against you like a cat. So he's a very sweet baby. But we're going to go here. I'm going to show you our horse, Toy. Hi, here she is, Toy. So Toy actually, came with the farm. She lived here longer than we have. So really, we're just on her farm. And she's a very old horse. She's actually 34, which is like, great grandma years for horses. And she was a broodmare, a lot of babies. And there was another horse with her who passed away, and she seemed really depressed. And I didn't work here at the time, but they thought, well, she's depressed because she lost her friend. And when we rescued 2 dairy cows, she kind of, because they were in the next pen. So they moved the cows in with her, and she took to momming them. So she was following them all around, and they're out in the pasture now. They're a pasture because she really enjoys their company and kind of just wants to feel like a mom. But we know she's happy because one day this winter, when her workers came in the morning. It snowed. It was beautiful, and there was Toy on her back, rolling around, just like loving life. So sometimes
Wow.
we just let her wander around freely, because she kind of knows she gets the run of the farm, because she wants to make sure we're keeping everything, tip-top shape, and doing right by her. So now I'm gonna try to take you over to our big pigs, if we can keep our connection. So these are our biggest pigs.
Well,
and
all right, we'll see this. And Erin, where are you headed to? I can see you in the lower part of the screen on the right. You there, Erin?
So, question for Katie while she's walking then. Since
Just testing as I walk over to the.
All right, Erin, you're what were you telling us, Erin? All right, I don't think she can hear us. Katie, go ahead. Peggy's got a question for you.
And
Yes.
it would be for both of you, but obviously, your operations are both.
Like I said, I'm going over towards our pigs and goats, and then the birds.
Okay, the connection's not really good there, Erin. So see if you can find a place where you've got a slightly better connection. And Katie, go ahead. We can see you.
I think you said you're going to the pigs, and I'm also taking you to see our biggest pigs.
Mhm.
This right here is our big man Pecan. And Pecan is laying in the sun, loving life. So
Relaxing on a Sunday.
What all pigs love, no matter how big or little they are, is a big old belly rub. So Pecan is 900. And
Pecan is what?
Could you say that again, Katie?
He weighs about 950 pounds.
Oh, okay.
So he came to us as a little baby from a student at college. She was in an animal science program, and they raised these from, little piglets. And at the end of the year, she found out that they were going to be sold for slaughter. And she really didn't want that to happen. So she had her fellow students sign a petition saying, we'd rather you give them to sanctuary. And she got a whole bunch of signatures. But the school basically said, that's great. We're still selling them for slaughter. So she and her family actually went to the auction and bought Pecan and brought him here. So he was just a tiny little baby when he came. And this is Tomo. He's big too. Hi, Tomo. You want to come out and say hi? Come on, big boy. Come on. Oh my gosh, so late. Say hi. Hello. Can you say hello? Yeah, all right. So he's another one of our large pigs. And you don't really get to see pigs grow that large, because they're usually slaughtered by 6 weeks. And, this is how big they would be, though, that gigantic pig. So that's Pecan and Tomo, and I adore them. Sometimes if they're way out in the field, they make little wallows for themselves, but if they're way out here and you call them, they come running like dogs with their little ears flapping and their tails going.
For their tummy rubs, yeah.
Yeah, the tummy rubs. They love the tummy rubs too. But I'm just going to show you. We have a little stream that runs, and they have made wallows for themselves, which is kind of seems so smart to me. They did it over to the side so that the water could keep running through. And of course, they are so smart. They actually, and in fact, they beat out. I don't know if you can you see the mud wallow here?
Yes.
Yeah,
I can see it.
There's their little. They love the flowery plants too. But they did studies to see just how smart pigs are, and they actually beat out pansies in learning how to move a cursor and win a very basic video game. So we're always talking about how smart pigs are, and we would never consider eating them, but pigs are actually just as smart in many ways. So
I'm sorry. If you could repeat that, pigs
Chimpanzees.
are chimpanzees. Okay, all right.
Yeah. So they were able to beat them at this video game test.
All right.
And learn it faster.
All right. Let's see where Erin is. I'm hoping we have a better signal. How you doing, Erin?
Good. Is it working any better?
Yeah, that's good. So.
Okay. Fantastic.
So actually, I want to show something that Erin sent me, which is I hope this is the right one. Let's see here. Oh, it doesn't want to do it. Okay, let's try this one. Oh, they don't want. It doesn't want to.
There
There
you
we go.
Oh yeah.
We're looking at animals eating watermelon, which is very fun. I didn't know so many different kinds of animals like watermelon.
Oh yeah, that's like a hot item when people are allowed to bring treats. That's definitely a hot item.
And this is it in slow motion. This is just a hoot, watching a pig eat watermelon in slow mo. Just
He's enjoying it.
It is making my day here. Okay, let's get back to Erin. Where are you now?
So I'm out in our it's a multi-species area. So it's about a 5-acre field that we've got goats in here, sheep, all of our big factory farm pigs. We call them our jumpers. They've all jumped off trucks and ended up on the highway, and then were brought here by Good Samaritans or the police. But yeah, we also, and it also kind of has our duck pond. You can see the ducks behind us. So similar to what Katie was saying, that there's these are food animals that people buy as pets, and then they release in our local ponds. And the town that we have here in Hobart has a lot, and these birds cause a lot of environmental damage. So we kind of teach the kids that every choice has a consequence. A lot of people buy these just to play with them and then dump them when they're at the ponds when they're bigger. But then, yeah, we have our food industry pigs in here as well. And we kind of teach the same thing about how intelligent they are, and just the kids see that they get to see these species interacting. There's friends, there's family members. I think I've got some of the goats here in the food here.
Is that the llama back there?
Yeah, that's Ginny the llama. She's famous. Everybody loves Ginny.
How is it? Why is it you have a llama?
She came with a cow that we rescued a number of years ago from kind of a hoarding situation. But she's great because she actually acts as a guard too. She will guard these animals from predators, from a coyote or fox or anybody that tried to come in here. She would chase them away. So she's helpful too.
I see you have Katie. You have a partner there.
Oh yeah, that's my daughter. Say hello.
Hello. Oh.
My kids came to event, so she likes the farm, and she's petting Artie. This is our celebrity. And this is Artie. He is a mini pig, which is now 350 pounds, and he's such a. So he was rescued. He was owned by a couple from Brooklyn, and they really did love him, and they wanted to do the right thing by him. They had a little tiny garden in the back, and he just kind of stopped eating. So they took him to the vet, and the vet did all sorts of blood work and all sorts of tests, and they couldn't figure out what was wrong with him. So they brought him up to Cornell, and with the intention of leaving him there for a week for tests and everything. And he got out of the car and kind of looked around and started eating and rooting around. And they realized Artie was depressed. He didn't want to live in an apartment in Brooklyn. He wanted room to root around and just do natural pig behaviors. They really love to turn up the ground with their nose and kind of wander around and be outside. And so they
yeah,
he's like our most social pigs.
He's your most social pig?
Yeah, he's always he loves attention. And yesterday he was dying to get out and party with everybody, but we really couldn't let him with all the food around.
It's amazing that one of the things I've found out in the time that we've been putting this show together is there are so many stories, and each of you has told me stories about these. You seem to know the stories of all the animals, and some of them are remarkable. Often it shows that they have human-like emotions, and they react to the change in their setting in very human-like ways, I guess. I was going to say ways that we recognizable ways is what I meant to say.
But when I first started working here, I thought, oh my God, remember all these animals' names and all these stories. We have about 275 animals. But once Erin would agree with me, once you're kind of around them and you work with them, they're individuals. They're family. And it's just like, when a friend tells you a story, you remember their story. And you know their life. And when you adopt a dog, you know where you got the dog from and you know what happened. So it's kind of the same thing. It's just you see them as individuals, which is why, we love doing the tours and we love having kids here for the same reasons that Erin already mentioned. They get to see the animals as individuals and, with their families, units. And it makes such a difference. And, once they hear stories like that, they think, oh, I wouldn't like that either if I was a pig. And, how would I react? And they can sort of empathize with their animals a little bit more. But yeah, it does become easy once you spend time with them to know them and, know their stories and you can see how it's affected their personalities. So it's pretty privileged to be able to do that.
And I'm looking over at Erin, and your signal doesn't seem to be great, but I'm seeing you with some sheep, and it might be that you need to get towards a stronger signal. But let me see. I can just pop in what we have here and where you are. It's like a series of still photographs as you move from animal to animal. So I don't know if you can. It's kind of funny the way it's working now. It's almost like we set up a slideshow for Erin here. So Erin, what I would advise, since we're getting to the end of the program, if you can get to a place where there's a stronger signal, that would be great. The same with you, Katie, because we need to do a little wrap up here. And since
and I put the links back up as well. Obviously, it takes a lot of resources to run and feed and care for and do all the medical attention on both Erin's farm and Tamerlaine. So I put the links up again for if you want to help out. It's up in the feed.
Right. I wanted to make sure. Yeah. Thank you for doing that, Peggy, because again, let us suggest that people donate to both Erin's farm and to Tamerlaine Sanctuary and Preserve. The other thing,
You
Katie,
can support individual animals too, can't you?
Yeah. And it's and if you're in the woods, you get to visit them for free. And we now and then about them and pictures, everything. But I also just say that we love the donations, definitely coming, but outreach is so important to us. We do our virtual tours for schools on a basis. So if you work at an underprivileged school and your school can't afford it, we do that for free, just to sort of give children everywhere the chance to learn about these things. So any schools out there, any educational institutions, whether they're homeschoolers or institutional regular type schools, we'd love to do virtual tours for you, and that information's on our website too.
that's good to know. And the other thing I should mention is that at Tamerlane, you're also into pollinators habitat, and go ahead, talk about that.
And we forgot to mention for Tamerlane also your designation.
Oh, right, that's right, because you just received an award this year. You made history. The Global Federation of Animal Sanctuaries accredited Tamerlane. Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you. It was a lot. It was definitely like a lot of work, and it's a wonderful thing to get, because it's not just saying, they make sure that you take great care of your animals and everything, but one of the other important elements is that you have a plan in place for the future, which is really important for a nonprofit, and especially one that's got, that we have over 275 animals that we have to care for. So we are really, really proud of that designation. Thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, and there's a lot. I would advise folks to go to their websites, both Erin's and Tamerlane's, and see what they have to offer, because we haven't gotten into the vegan challenge that Tamerlane is doing. Erin, I can just see it's so choppy there. You've got, and I guess you can't hear me because you haven't been able. Oh, you can't? Good. Okay. We need to wrap up here, so I would like to have some final words from you as well.
So I'm here with Lucy. She's a special cow. She's a breast cancer survivor. but yes, our farm is open to the public. We have school outreach programs as well, and you can come visit. And we have classes and programs here. All are about enrichment, environmental education, and making good choices. And we're definitely kind of touch on the plant-based vegan stuff too. But it's a great entry-level farm experience for families that are, thinking about changing their lives or becoming plant-based or living more compassionately.
That's a great way to end this. You guys are touching a lot of lives, and not just animal lives. I mean, you're changing the way people view animals, and so congratulations to both of you and to everybody who works at both places. I know that it takes a big staff and it takes volunteers, and we appreciate having you on the show, and thank you for the virtual tour. I hope folks who are watching were able to get enough of it. I know we broke up a little bit. That we knew that was going to happen, and we're just so pleased that we were able to do this, and we had beautiful weather as well. So Katie Parker and Erin Yanz, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you so much. Yes.
And I think we've got you back, Katie, maybe.
Thank you.
All right.
Yep.
We'll talk to you soon. It's the Mike Nowak Show with Peggy Malecki. Please stick around. There's more to come.
Looking for a career with growth potential? Do you yearn to learn and prosper? Want to be a true innovator and industry leader? Look no further. We're Bartlett Tree Experts. We've been growing strong for well over 100 years, and we're just getting started. Discover why we have an unmatched reputation for service and ingenuity that have made us the official tree care service for many of the nation's and the world's most prestigious clients. Our people thrive in a safety-first, entrepreneurial, promote-from-within environment. Bartlett employees receive industry-leading training at our state-of-the-art research laboratories and education facility in Charlotte, North Carolina. At Bartlett, opportunity grows on trees. Through our foundation, we invest in the education of students of arboriculture, horticulture, forestry, and related fields. Employment opportunities are endless at Bartlett Tree Experts. Those who join the Bartlett team tend to love it here.
Bartlett really opened my eyes to what's involved with arboriculture and all the aspects of tree care.
As a plant healthcare specialist at Bartlett, I am able to apply what I've learned at school on a day-to-day basis.
We offer some of the most competitive benefits in the industry, including paid holidays and vacations, medical and dental benefits, a 401k plan, life insurance, and much more. For over 100 years, Bartlett Tree Experts has been unrivaled in innovation and the tremendous opportunity it makes possible. Our cutting-edge thinking fosters a culture where breakthrough ideas become real-world solutions and our employees become respected leaders. Visit bartlett.com to learn more about some of our exciting career options.
Welcome to the Mike Nowak Show with Peggy Malecki. Green, gardening, and environment radio with just a soupçon of humor. Or is that a dash? Brought to you by Bartlett Tree Experts. Every tree needs a champion. Go to bartlett.com. Here they are again, Peggy Malecki and Mike Nowak.
All I need is good food to eat and make me healthy, wealthy, wide awake. Lettuce, tomatoes, rooted bacon. What about those sweet potatoes? All I need is good food to eat. All I need is good food to eat. All I need is good tools to make me music, porches, lawns to rake. Give me all that I can take. Give me stuff that I can break.
That was fun. And I hope folks didn't get seasick with all the breakups and the cameras moving around, but I hope that our viewers enjoyed that.
Yeah. Shout outs to Allison and Nancy and Catherine and Ken, Bruce, a lot of our people who are watching that really enjoyed that segment.
I'm so glad to see that and to hear that. Yeah, I'm looking at it. At the beginning of the show, I wasn't getting any chat. I don't know what happened to the chat function on my end. I logged in and there was nothing. So it was what it was. But
Gremlins.
Yeah. And I hope folks will take it upon themselves to contribute, to donate to those worthy organizations.
And I like what Katie said. It was a little hard to understand, so you may have missed it. But for schools and other organizations, homeschooling, she said that they do the virtual tours, the virtual education online free.
That's great.
So it's a great opportunity.
Yeah. And for those of you in the Chicago area, you can get over to Hobart in 45 minutes, as Erin Yanz said. And
call in advance, of course.
Right. I plan to go. I'm gonna go take a look and see what she's doing over there. Is just the coolest thing. So, okay, are we done? Can I go home? Oh wait, I am home.
Yeah, wait a second.
Yeah.
And hey, shout out to Skeet. Hey, Skeet, he just signed in here.
Oh, good.
He's watching us.
Good to see Skeet.
Something else we got to mention.
Yes.
Was the demise of Periscope.
Oh, right. I got a notice this week. Well, I think I had a notification that it was coming earlier, but I had forgotten all about it. But apparently Twitter has given up on Periscope. Periscope was their live stream version of Twitter, and they can't compete with YouTube and Facebook. Resistance is futile. And I'd like to give up on Facebook myself, but
however, that's futile at the moment.
That's futile for the moment. Well, Peggy and I send these emails back and forth to each other about the evil things that Facebook does, and so someday maybe we'll have a conversation about that as well. No,
it's breakfast time. Nobody wants to hear that.
Yeah, that's true. I get that, but yeah, apparently Twitter gave up on Periscope. So
we are broadcasting to Twitter right now.
It's on Twitter. So they're just picking it up on Twitter. Okay, I haven't even looked at that. I was so busy engineering and doing the cuts back and forth with our.
But the best ways to watch the show are on YouTube, Facebook, and go straight to our website, MikeNowak.net.
Yeah, Kathleen does such a great job of getting the stream up on the website. It's easy to see. It's a big screen. You can watch it on your computer. Of course, some people watch on their devices, but the two places we really want you to go to are our website, MikeNowak.net, or the YouTube page, and please, if you can, subscribe to the channel. In
fact, I'd go so far to say, if you're watching us on YouTube this morning, make sure you have subscribed. Please check that button right now, and please hit like, and keep doing that.
Yep.
Because that helps the algorithm.
And speaking of farm animals, today is the second and final day of the 2021 Windy City Coop and Eco Yard Tour. It's 1 to 4, and I suspect you should not have. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. It'd be a great day to go out in Chicago and check out how people are raising
in suburbs.
That's right, in some suburbs.
Yeah.
And what I would, I think, if you just type in Windy City Coop Tour on Facebook, you can get all the information about where to go.
Yeah, there's a map you can download. I think there's a 1 to 4 grouping. It goes all day, but there's a 1 to 4 grouping of tours.
Oh, wait.
Some are only open in the morning. Some are only in the.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I said 1 to 4, but there's 10 to 1, and then 1 to 4. So make sure you have the right grouping. You're right.
Just don't go right now. Go after 11.
Yeah, right. Well, they could go right now. I mean, I'm not going to chain somebody to their device and make them watch us.
Turn the device on the phone, and head out the door.
And while you're driving, watch us on the device. Okay, just do that too.
You can listen.
Yeah.
Listen.
No. Yeah. So there's 2 groups: 10 to 1 and 1 to 4.
We talked about that last week when we had Jenny on.
Right, but I just wanted to make sure that people knew that was still going on.
Yeah. And speaking of farms, now it's not farm animals, but farms. Just got this in this week as well from the Land Connection, in partnership with Prairie Rivers Network, is hosting a free screening of the film Seasons of Change on Henry's Farm. coming up this Wednesday, September 30th from 6 to 8 p.m. We've talked about that on the show as well, Seasons of Change. It's a timely documentary that follows organic farmer Henry Brockman, who is from Central Illinois, as he looks at his farm over the years and sees a lot of changes coming along with climate change, with variations, and how he's growing and adapting to growing organic vegetables and working with the community. So if you go to landconnection.org in the events section, you can find all the information to sign up for that free screening. And again, it's this coming Wednesday. It says the 30th on the email, but it's actually the 29th from 6 to 8 p.m.
Great.
And landconnection.org.
And it's a lovely film. I really enjoyed watching that, and it talks about the way climate change is affecting farmers, which is definitely the case. Also, coming up on the 14th of October is the 2021 annual luncheon for open lands. This year, they're honoring Senator Dick Durbin with the Conservation Leadership Award. I'm looking at the picture. I think that picture of Dick Durbin was taken 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's his LinkedIn shot. There you go.
Is that his LinkedIn shot?
I don't know. I don't know. No, it's the
you guys are good friends. You guys are like this, right? Right.
The photos that never change. Yes.
Excuse me. Yeah, I know. It's always funny to see what photos people are going to use of themselves.
Well, look at the ones of us for the show.
Yeah, should we do one with the hair and the beard for me? Yeah, But then it would change next week when we get a haircut, each of us. So at any rate, they're honoring Dick Durbin for his legislative achievements supporting conservation and the environment, from establishing Hackmatack National Wildlife Refuge and stewarding the passage of the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative. And other things. Now, what's interesting in what we're starting to see here, a number of groups were going to do in-person luncheons. This is actually both.
Yeah,
it's in person.
A hybrid event.
And a number of events now are hybrid events. And I'll be really honest with you, a number of people I know have contracted COVID, and they're mostly breakthrough cases, and I'm staying away from stuff like that myself right now. I just it's so dicey out there. It's weird because we thought we were coming out of it, and now you just look at those maps and you look at you almost get numb to it. Watching news reports now when they show you the maps, and basically the whole country's red, where the cases are exploding. Many of them are breakthrough. The good thing is the breakthrough cases don't usually end up putting people in the hospital. But what they do is make people sick. And it's like getting whacked with a baseball bat, apparently, when you contract this disease, and even if you've been vaccinated against it. But again, I urge anybody watching this, and if we did a poll, I'm betting that 99.9% of our viewers have vaccinations. I could be wrong, but I sure hope so. I hope they're smart and they're following the science, and the science says get vaccinated, because we took it on the chin here. We had some trolls come to our Facebook page a couple of weeks ago when I posted something about this, and we had some people saying, "Yeah, it doesn't make any difference. You know what? You're still going to get COVID." Well, yeah, you're going to get COVID, and you're not going to die. Generally, that's a big difference, if you ask me. And COVID is unpredictable, and some people get severe cases and some people don't. But people who are vaccinated generally don't get severe cases. Not that it can't happen, because it can happen. So getting back to events, I think I mentioned on my show, I blew off my high school reunion because they refused to have any protocols. There weren't going to be masks. They weren't even going to ask people if they were vaccinated. And I said, have a nice time. See ya. See ya when you do another one of those, maybe. So what I would tell people to do, if you're concerned about it, get a virtual ticket to see the open lands, because they
Open
do.
lands. And there's several other luncheons the same that are offering virtual tickets, because this is the luncheon season in the environmental groups.
Yeah, yeah, and Open Lands over the years has done such great work, and they've been supportive of us too, and I appreciate that. Founded in 1963, one of the oldest groups in the area. They protect natural and open spaces of northeastern Illinois and the surrounding region, and protect our clean air and water, protect natural habitats and wildlife, and have just done. The group has just done fabulous work over the decades, and they should be supported. They should really be supported.
Yeah. Well, and another group that has moved online again this year is Illinois Stewardship Alliance. Their the fall harvest auction, 10 days of food, farms, and fun, starts October 3rd, runs through October 10th. So that's going to start next week. They're doing a virtual online auction. They're going to be doing all of their presentations online, the awards online, and it is spread out over the 10 days. So and that's at ilstewards.org. And we've certainly had Liz Moran-Stelk and others talking about Illinois farming issues and other things that Stewardship Alliance is involved in. So I'd suggest also checking that out. They've got some interesting auction items.
And another group that is doing the hybrid thing is Illinois Environmental Council. Their 2021 Environmental Leadership Dinner is October 5th, so that's a week from Tuesday. And the ticket sales for being there in person and this Tuesday, but they are also going to be broadcasting the event. And that's at the Fairmont Millennium Park Hotel in Chicago. And they're honoring a couple of people who have been on our show. Dr. Cindy Skruckrud, who's going to win a Lifetime Champion Award for her environmental work. And Nicole Virgil is getting the Conservation Champion Award. And Nicole, of course, has been on our show to talk about her efforts in Elmhurst to get her hoop house, and she got the law passed, and that's part of the reason she's getting the award. She got,
Thanks to all of them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But they're also honoring the Community Champion Award is the Stop General Iron campaign on Chicago's southeast side, and of course they're honoring Governor J.B. Pritzker, because it's a good thing to award the governor. But he's been doing some very strong environmental work. So, it's good to have the governor on your side when you're fighting the environmental battles of Illinois. I'm sorry, Peggy, you were going to say.
I was going to say, before we transition into that, because I know there's some energy and Illinois environmental things we were going to cover. Another one to mention that has now gone online is the Green Living Expo, McHenry County College.
Right.
Which we are a media sponsor for. And that is November 6th from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's free and it's all online. There's going to be 4 different tracks: renewable energy, waste reduction, food and farming, and fun and recreation. And Kim Hankins is going to join us in the next couple of weeks to talk about that, because they're creating all sorts of wonderful interactive online experiences for this, both indoors and out.
Right, and kudos to them for plowing ahead with this, because again, like all these other groups, they've been forced to sit down and examine what they can do, what they can accomplish. Can they do it live? If they don't, how do they do it virtually? How do they do it online? And Kim is such a great champion of that program at McHenry County College, and just talking to her, she's so excited about doing it every year. And and I,
such a fun event. We've done it for many years. Yeah.
Yeah. And we go there, and I'm telling you, the people in McHenry get it. And they show up. They show up for this, and that's why it's frustrating when you can't do an in-person event. And I'm hoping that a year from now, that will change.
Yeah, and I just one more thing on Green Living Expo. I know they are still looking. They're still looking for vendors. So if you have a green business, sustainable business, local farm, co-op, well, co-ops, there's a couple of them are there already. But any business that you would want to reach out to the community from the virtual setting, give Kim a call. McHenryCounty.edu/green will get you to her links.
Fantastic, and like I said, it's a wonderful event and good people putting it together. So, what else was it that we were supposed to?
Let's see here. I'm flipping back and forth between several windows. You sent that piece on the methane emissions.
Okay. Now you got to
NGO Energy Vision shows that methane emission reduction efforts should prioritize organic wastes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my goodness.
That was kind of interesting. That was press release, sustainable energy.
I don't know that I have that in my...
here. As the U.S. and European Union pledged to cut methane emissions to fight climate change, analysis by the National Sustainable Energy nonprofit Energy Vision shows that reducing emissions from organic wastes would cut methane more deeply and at a lower cost than reducing emissions from the fossil fuel industry. Last week at the Major Economies Forum, the U.S. and the European Union committed to slashing methane emissions 30% below 2020 levels by 2030. In May, the UN Environmental Program and the Climate and Clean Energy Coalition issued a landmark global methane assessment, which stated that cutting methane emissions is the strongest lever we have to slow climate change over the next 25 years. So in the coming weeks, the U.S. EPA is expected to announce new tighter regulations requiring oil and gas companies to find and fix methane leaks. They're also suggesting organic waste be processed in specialized tanks called anaerobic digesters. And it goes on to say that, while fossil fuels capping methane releases there is great, they also suggest organic waste deserves top priority in the U.S. methane reduction efforts, including landfills, farm fields, and wastewater treatment plants.
And it makes perfect sense. We have so much organic material that goes to landfills. It's a good thing to capture that energy and the greenhouse gases that are produced by their decomposition. I can't even find the article I sent you, so I saw it, and now I have no idea where it is at the moment. But
I'll re-forward it to you.
Well, but you covered it very well. That's a really cool thing.
Here's another event that you sent me.
All right.
Chicago Metropolitan Area Planning. Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, or CMAP, has their State of the Region event, first time ever. Takes place on Thursday, October 7th at 10 a.m. Again, online. Keynote speech by public health expert and medical executive Dr. Suzette McKinney. A ceremony for the winners of CMAP's 2021 Regional Alliance Awards, and a State of the Region address by Executive Director Erin Ailman. They're going to look at their public opinion survey on Northeastern Illinois resident attitudes towards key quality of life issues, successes and challenges across our region. A lot of that focuses on transportation and regional planning for the greater Chicagoland area, and for open space, how do we stop traffic jams? What do we do about moving forward in a very congested region?
Well, and they sent a very interesting article about that as well, about Singapore and how Singapore implemented congestion pricing nearly 50 years ago, and it has worked to combat.
What is that?
That is where you pay more to be in certain parts of the city. And given now, 50 years ago, it was hard because you were, I'm not exactly sure how they were paying. It was, was
toll booths.
Yeah, or real money or something. But now you can have those readers that scan a car, and you can more easily implement that kind of congestion pricing. And it's a way to cut down on things. I mean, looking at the traffic post-pandemic, we're back to where we were. It hasn't changed.
Yeah, that's what this piece says, that we are at or above pre-pandemic levels in northeastern Illinois.
Yeah. And speaking of that and the consequences of that, I just booked Guy McPherson for the program again, and some of you're looking askance, Peggy. Yeah, he's not the cheeriest guy in the world. He's
not Mr. Sunshine. No.
Yeah, he's the author and proprietor of Nature Bats Last. And if you look up Nature Bats Last, it's a website. And he is the guy who basically around 2003 started saying, you know what, it's too late for us to do anything. We're screwed. And he has held to that, and he's become very controversial. And some people think he's a crackpot, and some people think he's spot on. He is an outlier in the scientific community, but he has very interesting ideas. I mean, so if you look at, I was reading an article about him and other people who talk about climate change, and the ones that get all the press are the climate deniers, climate change deniers. They're covered all over the place, but the climate change, what they call alarmists, do not get the same publicity that the climate change deniers get. So we've got all these people out there saying, nothing's going to happen, and everybody's holding a microphone to their face. But you get a guy like Guy McPherson, and he's saying, we're past the point where we can fix it. So, bundle up tight, be nice to each other, and kiss your behind
enjoy
goodbye.
What time you have left.
Yeah,
basically.
But they don't get as much press, and it's true, and it might be because there aren't that many alarmists on there. I mean, most scientists are still trying to find solutions, and so Guy McPherson is looking at some of those solutions. In fact, I didn't give me 2 seconds here, and I can find one of them that he is talking about. Let's see.
And when's Guy going to be on?
He's talking about one of the things that is a possibility is something called mere reflection. And this is going on at Harvard. Rebalancing Earth's energy flows and restoring her geochemical cycles by achieving carbon neutrality through engineering. And they want to put mirrors up, literally, to reflect the sun's rays and create coolness. Now, that sounds a little crackpot, except that they're working on it at Harvard University, so I'm not exactly sure. And I haven't. So they want to use glass mirrors to reflect solar radiation away from Earth, redirect solar radiation to harness its potential for enhanced food production and carbon neutral energy generation, facilitate the biological and accelerate the chemical processes endemic to Earth's oceans and atmosphere for reducing atmospheric carbon dioxide and methane, and establish an open education network for promoting pan-human solidarity and justice and supporting them through relentless innovation. I like the idea of relentless innovation.
But the mirrors sounds like something out of Bradbury or Arthur C. Clarke or some science fiction.
By the way, Isaac Asimov's, I just saw that on one of the channels, TV channels, they're doing Foundation. When I was in high school, I read Foundation Trilogy. I was a big science fiction guy in high school, and Foundation Trilogy by Isaac Asimov is wonderful. Now they're turning it into a series. That'll be interesting to see how they can do that.
Yeah, I can't think of the author off the top. Somebody, I'm sure one of our viewers. Red Mars, Green Mars, Blue Mars, of how we terraform Mars. how we turn Mars into Earth and move all the problems right over to Mars.
Here's what I got to say about that. Those people are saying we need to terraform Mars so we can have a planet to live. We already got one. We've screwed it up, but we've already got a planet, and it's pretty darn good. Why are we thinking we need to move to Mars so that we have planet B? Why don't we work on planet A? It just seems logical to me. I don't know about you.
It kind of goes back to some of the same things we were talking about in the first hour. Throwaway society.
Well, we're throwing away the whole planet right now. And that's what Guy McPherson is saying. He's saying it's crazy. And we've pushed it too far, and we're not going to get it back. So anyway, Guy's going to be on with us, I believe, the 17th of October. So you mark your calendar if you want to hear somebody pretty out there about what's going on in this world. All right, we need to take a break. Rick needs to leave early today, so we're going to get to him. It's the Mike Nowak Show with Peggy Malecki. He texted me? No, he wrote to me, and I'm going to pop something up. So we'll be back with meteorologist Rick DiMaio. You have the ability to give your soil a superpower. It's called composting. If you don't have a backyard, you need to contact Collective Resource Compost. CRC has diverted 7,000 tons of food scraps since 2010. They bring you a fresh 5-gallon bucket or a 32-gallon neighbor tote with each pickup. You fill it with organic matter from your kitchen, they swap it out and get it to a commercial composting operation. Fight climate change. Go to collectiveresource.us. Whether you're a farmer or a backyard gardener, assist your soil in providing key nutrients to your plants with Spectrum Soil Inoculum from Tineo Biologicals. The beneficial microorganisms in Spectrum break down and release vital nutrients and make them more accessible to your plants. Spectrum works with nature to decompose organic matter into humus, building richer, healthier soil. Spectrum is approved for use on certified organic crops and is OMRI listed. Get Spectrum at blazing-star.com.
Life is an ocean, streaming alone, ripples of motion, hitting us all, yeah.
Dive in, your time to win, our hearts all in, let's let the fun begin. Take a dive, take a dive, take a dive. Climbing high, I see you diving. Take a dive, take a dive, take a dive. I see you diving high, I see you climbing high, I see you diving. Dive smart, dive smart, dive hard, dive hard, dive hard, dive hard, dive in. Dive smart, dive smart, dive hard, dive hard, dive hard, dive hard.
And welcome back to the Mike Nowak Show with Peggy Malecki. There's good morning, Rick DiMaio.
Yeah, hi guys.
You just sent me a couple of photographs. Do you mind if I pop them up on the screen there, Rick? Do you want to?
Yeah, no, not at all. You can go ahead as long as I don't start crying.
Oh, well, this is speaking of. Earlier in the program, we were at a couple of rescue farms for animals, and this was your partner Rebecca's horse, and
Annie.
So, anything you want to say about Annie?
Yeah, Annie. I guess I can.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah. Unfortunately, you
I'll
lost
try to get
Annie.
my
Yeah, you lost Annie this week.
Yeah, she died of equine multinodule pulmonary fibrosis, which is a severe form of pneumonia. And as you know, horses have big lungs.
Yeah.
So we noticed that about 3 weeks ago, her cough, which she had every once in a while, got a little worse, and then her fever spiked. So we called the vet, and the vet from a place called Wisconsin Equine up in Oconomowoc came down, looked at her with an ultrasound, and it's amazing. You know, you watch these shows like Dr. Pol, Emergency, Animal Hospital, and it really is like what you see on TV. It really is what happens in the real world. They literally have like, you know, a hospital room in their back of their car or their van or their SUV, and they could do all sorts of diagnosis on the fly. So she clearly saw that Annie was struggling breathing due to the fact that the lungs had a lot of fluid in them, some bacteria. So she was shipped up to ICU at the Wisconsin Equine Center. It was about a 40-mile drive. Got her on, you know, the quote, we thought at the time, correct knock, if you want to call it, cocktail of narcotics and other things. And she did respond. She was getting better. And then all of a sudden she took a turn for a worse, literally right after she was released. And her other side began to become infected as well, even though the right side became somewhat clear, or not clear, but better. And the fever just kept going up and up and up. You know, like it would come down, it would go up, it would come down, go up. So about a week later, we called the vet again, and vet came out and said, you know, not came out. We brought Annie back up to Wisconsin Equine up in Oconomowoc, and they took X-rays and said her lungs were literally 90% full. And you know, Annie's 23 and a half. Rebecca rescued her about 7.5 years ago. We've rescued 2 dogs, a ferret, a couple of what are those little fuzzy guys that run around and squeak a lot? Not gerbils. Hamsters. No, the other ones. I forget exactly what they are. Not gerbils, not hamsters. Anyway.
Guinea pigs?
Guinea pigs, yeah, the guinea pigs. And we just rescue animals. And Rebecca is the best animal mom, horse mom that you can find on planet Earth. So it was really tough because when we got the news that Annie was probably not going to make it, we brought her back to the barn up in Lyons, Wisconsin, where I go every Sunday with her, and she's up there 3 days a week. You can see that Annie was not doing well, and then we were going to go back up there the next day, and we got a call that Annie was down, and that's never a good sign. So by the time we got up there, she had already passed, and that's the hard part, is because you not only look at this animal as a beautiful living creature, you know, prancing through, you know, the grass or the snow, but you know, they become your buddy. They become your soulmate. Some people think that we rescued them, but I think Annie rescued Rebecca. I really do. So it's, I hate breaking down like this, but I think people who are watching know exactly what I'm talking about, because we lost a ferret and a dog literally within about 5 weeks of one another. And then that was 2 years ago. And now Annie, and this is going to be a tough one. This is going to last forever. I don't think they ever go away. But, you know, when you have all these signs that come back and hit you, you know, like you see something, there's a dog, or there's a horse, or a person. I mean, my brother lost his son at the age of 26. And I always know that on a certain date, it's like it hits them. You know, Christmas hits them. You know, Father's Day hits them. You know, you see kids graduating, it hits them. So when people, you know, hear about other people, you know, rescuing animals, it's a two-way process. You're not just rescuing the animal, but the animal is like, in a sense, rescuing you. And our little guy, Jax, I remember the day that we went to see him, he walked right up to me and I'm like, all right, that's it. You're going home. I think the previous segment that Mike and Peg that you did, I think really is important for people to know, because when you do hear things like, oh, it's a pig, pigs are smart, or it's a horse, and you realize why people go vegan, and why people go vegetarian. They want to at least preserve that sanctity of the animal world that I think humans probably don't understand. They really don't. But I know that when I get up in the morning, Jax, my dog, expects me to take him out, expects me to give him a treat. He expects me to take care of him. And animals are not able to do that on their own. And that's why humans are here to do that for them. But at the same time, if there's one way, and I'll finish up here in a second, if there's one way to really purge your day of really horrible things that have happened, is you either A, go for a walk. I know, Peg, you love to do that a lot along the lakefront. Mike, you go into your garden. I take my dog for a walk. And it gets me out and about. And and they greet you with unconditional love. And there's like that in no other. So I urge people to get a little bit more involved in animal rescue. But at the same time, when you watch some of these shows on TV, you go, there's another dumb show about someone rescuing an animal, something like that. There's actually a lot of heart and soul and personalities that animals have. So that was a really important thing that you did this week, Mike. And for people who have lost animals like we have, but especially someone like Rebecca who puts her heart and soul into it, it's as my dad said, and I'm going to end it on this. When my parents lost their dog 2 dogs ago, he wrote me a letter saying, I have never felt so connected to anybody in my entire life. And I was like, wow, I think that means my mom as well. And I never actually shared that letter that he wrote with my mom, because if they got into an argument, my dad took my dog out for a walk. And it was, it's one of those things that unless you really get completely 100% involved in being responsible with the animal, people who don't do that will never really understand that. That doesn't mean that they're wrong. That just means that they haven't gotten to that place where some of us are fortunate enough to have gotten to.
Well, thank you for that. And Rick,
Rick.
we're getting our viewers are sending hearts, and Sarah Batka said our hearts go out to you and Rebecca for your loss. And she says, yeah, they rescue you too.
Yeah.
Bruce commiserated here. He says he lost his son at 21, the age of 21, 2 years ago. So you've hit a chord here, and thank you for your honesty and your emotion. I know you don't have a lot of time today, so let's.
I can go another 10 minutes. That's fine. That's fine.
Because we can switch gears here, and I will just say one thing. And even a cat. I come home, my cat's waiting for me at the back door, runs into the living room ahead of me, goes to my briefcase, which is usually sitting on the floor, starts scratching it, and expects me to scratch her while she's scratching my briefcase. That briefcase is not long for this world, but I'm not taking it away from my cat. That's not going to happen.
Yeah,
Nope.
and
if
I know
if they want seconds and thirds after dinner, okay, they get a little more food.
there's something about that, Peg, that's good and bad, as we all know, because an animal doesn't understand nutritional, dietary regulations and percentages and things like that. But like my little guy right now, where is he? He's right there.
Oh, there he is. Hey, Jax.
Hey, Jax.
So that's Jax. And, as soon as it's funny, Mike and Peg, he knows not when I get up, but when I close my laptop. Literally, when I close my laptop and he hears that bump, he's off the chair. He's off the couch. He's like, that means
playtime.
I'm next, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Playtime.
It's me.
Yeah.
Me time. All right. And Greg and Audrey and Dan Costa, they are commiserating as well. So you got fans out there who are feeling your pain, and they're with you. So
Yeah, it's not easy. And I think for horses more than anything, you have a connection with them. They're not only something that you take care of, but you ride. And it's like getting on a motorcycle, it's getting on a bike, it's getting in your favorite car, it's shifting the gears. It's knowing how to, when you watch the Olympics, the only sport that has an animal is equestrian, right? We don't have dog races, we don't have pig races, we don't have cat jumps and things like that, right? We literally have like
There's a lot of healing with horses, therapeutic riding, equine psychotherapists. There's just a lot of things with horses and the human connection.
Yeah,
it really is. It's great that you mentioned that, Peg, because there's so much more of that involved as well, as opposed to just sitting down and talking to someone. And you know what? As much as you hear like a licensed physician ask you the right questions, it was a little bit like, you really don't know what's going on to me. An animal doesn't ask questions. An animal just like takes their nose and nudges it under you, and then you get into that kind of like movement or moment with them. But yeah, a horse is not so much a friend, but they're a beast of burden. At the same time, they're an amazing athlete. And if you really think about it, they're the only animal out there that probably has 3 parts to them that no other animal and no other human being has that part. The fact that they're a beast of burden, they're something to look at and take care of, but at the same time, they're damn good athletes. It really is amazing.
Well, you send
So
our
we
love.
can move on to the other stuff now. Yeah.
Send our love to Rebecca, please. And I know you guys got to go up there and do deal with whatever it is.
And anybody who has lost someone, the hardest thing is like the week after. It's like cleaning up and picking up stuff and going, what do I do with this? And that's the hard part. You find yourself stopping and staring and looking at it and going, all right, now what? And then the tears come out, the things break down. So, yeah, but we could talk about weather.
Okay, let's do that. The most remarkable thing you sent me this week, I think, is this. The rainfall
Drought
deficit.
maps.
Yeah, and we'll put the drought map up in a second. But look at these deficits for, and I keep telling people, get out there and water. Get out, and you mentioned it this week, your perennials, but certainly your trees and shrubs. Dan Costa last week sent me a photo of creeping Charlie, which is a weed that was desiccated because, and nobody's going to pine for creeping Charlie and feel sorry for it.
No.
But he said he'd never seen anything like that before.
Yeah.
Yeah, and where Peg is up in Lake County, that's where that area now has become severe drought. We drive up through, Lake County up into Racine, County, and then Racine, twice a week, and you really see the public grass areas almost completely now brown, especially after we've had some warm weather. But oddly enough, the corn made it through this because we got the rain just at the right time. And again, we call those $1 million rains because when we needed the rain, we got the rain. And it was amazing that we didn't have that hot of a summer. So I think we're going to go back and look at this drought as one that was complemented by the fact that when we got the rain, when we needed the rain, we got the rain. It never got extremely hot. If you look back at 12, we probably had worse rain deficits with this one as opposed to 2012. But 2012 was super dry at the beginning of the year and ended up staying that dry all the way through the most important time during when everything was basically beginning to take root. And that's why 2012 was such a much worse drought. But yeah, you look at this area of Kenosha County and Lake County, that's severe drought now. I mean, that's the stuff that they have out in California and Colorado. And then you get a closer look, and then again, that entire area west of what we call the I-88 corridor, where there's tons of corn. The corn guys did really well because, again, the rains came when they needed to come, and we didn't have really excessively high heat. And I really believe that the humidity that we did get in the month of August kind of saved a lot of the plants as well, because it added that little layer of water vapor to the atmosphere. So again, this is the kind of the things that we learn. We kind of learn some of these tangents of quote, weather disasters, only because it pushes us to learn more of them. Not that we want to learn more about them, but it really does.
Yeah, and going back to the map of the Midwest states here, you can see Iowa has still got a lot of dry territory. Minnesota, especially up north, is really in
Right.
severe drought. Wisconsin has done a little better, and so has Michigan, because Michigan had a pretty hard go of it early on, but they've recovered somewhat, except for that corridor right at the southern part of Wisconsin and northern part of Illinois.
Yeah, it's amazing. We now have more of an area of severe drought than Iowa does, because Iowa, as you remember, as we mentioned a couple of weeks ago, got pounded in the latter half of August and into early September. But again, I mean, here we are complaining about how dry it is. You look outside, you go, it's phenomenally beautiful out.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like
it is.
really, really nice. Yeah, and again, this is great weather. I mean, great weather for harvesting. So I know that when we go up into the farm country in another hour or so, or half hour, the farmers are out there 7 days a week. And again, you look at this accumulated precip, and again, that northern area, Mike and Peg, of Iowa and Minnesota, where if you've ever driven along I-90 from, I think it's Verona, Wisconsin to Albert Lee, that southern area of Minnesota, it looks like northern Iowa. And look how much rain they got in the last 30 days, literally 200% of normal. So it was a total flip-flop from a standpoint of areas of Wisconsin or southern Wisconsin and Illinois. And again, I hate this map because it shows green to be less rain. But again, you look at that one part of northern Iowa, 10 to 15 inches of rain. That's an amazing amount of rain all the way across Wisconsin and Michigan. But the area where we've had the drought, it's just expanded. And the really scary thing about it, there's no rain expected for the next 7 days. Literally no rain, like zero.
Yeah, that is a scary thing. Here's the jet stream. That has something to do with it, I assume.
Oh, yeah. And this is good that we show this every week, because it'll get people to understand what we look at as meteorologists. So that big circular flow, which is over southeast part of Canada, that was basically over the Great Lakes on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. That gave us that cool wet weather that we were talking about last week. But now the jet stream is basically coming out of the west-northwest, which is a dry flow. And if you go to the next map, this would be for 8 days from now. It literally goes further north, which is really amazing. So the fact that we're going to stay not only dry, we're also going to stay warm. The only good thing about that, if you notice the way the lines are kind of coming in from the Great Lakes into the Carolinas, that west-northwest flow will keep any hurricanes that try to make it to the East Coast, that'll kick them off to like Bermuda and out over the water. The only thing we have to worry about is now that the areas of the Gulf of Mexico and the Bay of Campeche and the Yucatan Straits, if anything forms in that area, goes straight north, look out Gulf Coast. Now, I don't know if you guys remember this, but 4 years ago, we were in a string of 7 consecutive days of temperatures in the low 90s. The reason why? Hurricane Harvey, Hurricane Irma, Hurricane Maria. Remember those storms back in late September? All of those storms literally took the jet stream and pushed it northward. The jet stream isn't being pushed northward this year by hurricanes. It's just being pushed northward by the fact that the atmosphere has gotten really warm. So if you look at the storms that we've had so far this year, we've had 19. Many of them have been weak. I have to say, this is not one of those seasons where you go back and you go, holy smoke, there were like 3 Category 5s. We've actually had 4 major hurricanes of Category 3 or greater, 19 total named storms, 7 of them hurricanes. And this is actually working out really well with the prediction from not only the National Hurricane Center, but also the Tropical Storm Forecasting Unit out of Colorado State. I know you think Colorado, why out there? Well, they do a lot of long-term forecasting just on patterns. But the consensus was, and this was all the way back in August, we were going to see anywhere between 15 and 21 named storms. We're up to 19. 7 to 10 hurricanes, we're up to 7. 3 to 5 major hurricanes, we're up to 4 at this point, or 5. I lost track there. But the bottom line is the forecast right now is working out okay if it ended today. But it's only the 26th of September. we still have a whole nother month to go. So if you think about it, the possibility, four major hurricanes. Thanks for going back on that. But if you think about it, the fact that Hurricane Wilma occurred the last weekend of October back in 2005. Hurricane Sandy occurred on the last week in October in 2012. And as long as that area of north of South America to about the Yucatan Straits, down around the Caribbean, South Caribbean, stays somewhat less windy in the upper levels, anytime you get a storm down there, it's going to move northward. So there's a lot of potential activity that we're still worried about. Right now, we're worried about Hurricane Sam, which is now a Category 4 storm that's way out in the southern Atlantic, but I don't think that's going to do anything in the United States. If anything, in 3 or 4 days, it may impact Bermuda. We'll see about that, but this hurricane has really ramped up. So between Hurricane Larry, which was a Category 4 that, believe it or not, hit Nova Scotia, and Hurricane Sam, which looks like it's going to hit Bermuda and maybe Nova Scotia, the United States outside of Hurricane Ida has been relatively unscathed by the big storms so far this year.
You know, it's the reason I put this map up, and I'm sorry it's a little bit small. What I was struck by looking at this is the seeming randomness of the paths of hurricanes. I mean, there's no one track that they're all taking. I mean, yeah, normally they come up from the west coast of Africa and come across the Atlantic, or they form in the Gulf of Mexico. But look at the crazy tracks there. And is there any pattern you can get from this?
Well, they generally take that track which goes from east to west, and they make a big curve. So you do kind of see that a little bit. The one orange one that kind of came out of West Africa went right across the central part of the Atlantic. That was Hurricane Larry. But what I look at when I see this map is there's a lot of blue, and the blue indicates a Category 1 or Category 2. There haven't been a lot of storms that had a Category 4 or 5 for a long period of time, all right? Not like what we had back in 2017. And that's one of the reasons why the total dollar amount is fairly low. The only one that really was the more expensive one was Ida, and that's the one that went right into Louisiana and then eventually up across the New York City, New Jersey, Philadelphia area. But if you would take away maybe a couple of ones that look like outliers, you would still kind of see this pattern that takes it from east to west and then kind of curves a little bit. Sometimes these storms can move into Chicago. We had that with Hurricane Gustav. We had that with Hurricane Ike back in 2005 and 2007, which is rare to get something like that in Chicago. But I think the remnants of a tropical storm in the Chicagoland area would be actually welcome, don't you think?
Absolutely at this point, because look at the temps, and as you mentioned earlier, no rain in the forecast.
No, and the thing about it now is if you took this pattern, Mike and Peg, and instead of it being September 30th, if you made this July 30th, we would be talking about temperatures above 100 degrees. Right now we're talking about temperatures about 85 to 90. Yikes. Normal high by the time we get to next week is 69. So if you hit 85, people go, wow, it's great. But what they don't realize is 15 degrees above normal in July is 100 degrees. It's the same pattern. It's just the fact that we're getting about, say, 700 watts per square meter of energy this time of the year, as opposed to maybe 1,000. Okay, so we're getting a lot less solar radiation. But one thing that you're going to notice is that the feedback mechanism of the very, very dry ground could actually keep you warmer a little bit longer as you head into the month of, or the early part of October, which you can see this goes all the way into the 8th of October. We're talking 2 weeks out. 2 weeks out, we're going to have temperatures, above normal. And again, I've said it before, as long as you don't have a lot of rain, those lakes actually stay pretty mild. And it'll be interesting to see whether or not people are actually taking a dip in the lake later on today or tomorrow when temperatures get into the low 80s. I know the lake cooled down a little bit the last couple of days, but there's something to be said for people going, I swam in Lake Michigan in October. That's rare to do around here, but this year I think we can probably get away with doing that.
All right, one more map before we get a forecast and let you go. the colors
Yeah.
are
And-
coming.
Oh, the colors. I don't know about you guys, but I've already seen stuff turn a week ahead of normal, if not 2 weeks. And the fact that the weather was cooperating, I would not be surprised if you have hotels and motels booked into the next 2 weeks for all of central and northern Wisconsin and eventually into the southern part of the state due to the fact that the fall colors, I think because we've been so warm and dry, are already looking fantastic. And you notice it like yesterday, Rebecca and I were going for a drive, and you could already see those long shadows that you don't normally see at the end of July or August. You're seeing them now, and the trees are responding nicely to that. So this is the Wisconsin update. The one for Illinois we can talk about next week because it really gets into some of the trees and things like that. And that's probably for those people who like to go to the, Chicago Botanical Gardens and see all the colors. But man, get out into the trashy areas of our forest preserves. You see just as many good colors in those areas. I shouldn't say it that way, but I mean, why pay $20 to park your car or walk around and go, look how beautiful it is when you can do it for free going for a bike ride or walking your dog?
Yeah, absolutely. So give us a forecast.
All right. So mid-70s today, low 80s tomorrow. Front comes south of us on Tuesday. So that'll cool things off. So mid-70s inland Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, upper 60s near 70 at the lake, and then probably back up to close to 80 degrees for Friday and Saturday of next week. In addition to that, no rain. And anything you want to do outside over the next 7 days,
Get
do it.
out
The only
every
bad
day.
thing. Yeah, the only bad thing about playing golf is, Mike, this time of the year is when you hit your ball off course, it's hard to find it under all those leaves, right?
Yeah, you're gonna lose a few golf balls under the leaves, and sometimes you lose them in the fairway too, which is really frustrating.
But there's no leaves yet, so get out and play golf.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
And Go USA, the Ryder Cup up in Kohler, Wisconsin. Oh my God, that is a beautiful place to watch and play golf, right?
Yeah, I caught some of that in the last couple of days. It's just so stunning, and you just can't believe it.
Yeah.
Right on Lake Michigan, and what a crazy course. I'm not sure I would want to play that course.
I think it's really going to be great later on this afternoon because the 17th hole is, I think, a 218 yard par 3, and if you miss the hole, it's like Pebble Beach. You're in Lake Michigan. And especially today with the wind out of the west at about 30 miles an hour, you're going to see a lot of golfers straining to get the ball anywhere near the green. So the great thing about golf is Mother Nature always has the final say in things.
Absolutely. All right, Rick, again, our condolences to you, and have a pleasant trip up there. At least enjoy the colors and enjoy the beautiful day.
It may be pleasant going up, but it won't be pleasant getting there or coming back. So wish me luck, guys.
Okay, hang in there. All right, we'll see you. We'll see you next week. All right, and with that, it's just you and me. Why don't we do this? And thank. Wow, what a remarkable show today, from top to bottom. Katie Parker and Erin Yanz, so much to thank them for. And don't forget to, if you get a chance, to donate to Tamerlaine Sanctuary and Preserve or Erin's Farm.
Check out all those events we were talking about.
Right. And thanks to meteorologist Rick DiMaio, to Kathleen working hard upstairs, to Legata who scratches on my briefcase, to Basil who you're going to have to take outside. Until next time, go green or
Go home.
Stadler?
Yeah, what?
Is that it?
Yes, it's over. How'd you like it?
I don't know. I slept through the whole thing.
Well, you didn't miss much.